breaking news overnight. What is it, Ellie?
Poland has shot down so-called Russian suicide drones that invaded its airspace overnight.
Now, this could be a major escalation, with NATO jets being scrambled to fend off what they've described as violations from the Russians. Residents have been urged to stay indoors. Polish armed forces identified and neutralised what was there.
Well, to tell us more, research fellow for the Henry Jackson Society, Andrew Fox, joins us. Morning to you, Andrew. What do we understand has happened in Poland overnight?
So the reports we've got at the moment are that a number of drone-like objects entered Polish airspace from Russia as part of their huge attack on Ukraine. The Polish have had to close 4 of their national airports, and citizens in 3 regions in Poland have been told to take cover until this incident is completely resolved.
But Andrew, why would 4 objects enter Polish airspace? Would this be deliberate? Could this have been an accident?
It could have been an accident because obviously Russia has hugely increased the number of drones it's firing at Ukraine over recent weeks. The drone-like objects, we can assume they're probably something like the Shahed drones or the Garan 2, which is the Russian version of the Iranian drone that they purchased from Tehran. If it's deliberate, this would be very much in line with Russian tactics, because what they do is they probe and they test, never quite reaching the threshold where Article 5 of NATO can be called and some kind of military response is justified. So it's just enough to be deniable, but it's almost certainly a probe of NATO defences to assess our readiness and just to send a message that Russia is still a force to be reckoned with and concerned about.
But really, I don't understand. Why would they be probing Poland? What would the objective be?
So almost certainly to see how NATO reacts, what a Polish readiness states like in order to respond to an attack like this. How ready are the Polish Air Force to defend themselves? What does NATO do more widely? Are they going to show unity? Or will countries like Hungary and Turkey, who are NATO members, continue to have a sort of conflicting line? What will Washington do? How will Mr. Trump respond? There are a number of questions here that will reflect on where NATO is in terms of its willingness and preparedness to defend against attack.
Well, it's been described as a major escalation in Europe. What do you think the response will be, not only from Poland, but from wider NATO?
Well, this is the challenge, because what can you do? You're not going to declare war over a small number of drones. You're not going to have NATO retaliatory strikes against Russia at this point, because, of course, it's very difficult to prove the intent. Russia can simply claim it was a mistake, and NATO can offer a very stiff statement of condemnation. But I don't think it'll go any further than that at this time.
But where it will go further, I presume, is in Poland's state of readiness.
Absolutely, and the Polish armed forces have been very quick with their messaging. They've sent out very clear statements that they are prepared, that they've managed to shoot down these drones that have entered Polish airspace. And of course, Poland probably has the strongest military in Europe right now. So, if you're going to mess with anyone, the Polish are the last ones that you should mess with. So,
you think it was a deliberate mess, though? Your instinct is this is a deliberate messing.
Yeah, I would assess that this is very much in line with Russian tactics, the way they probe our airspace, the way they probe shipping in the North Sea, the way they hide arms caches over the borders in the Baltic regions. This is absolutely in line with how Russia operates. It's almost certainly a test for NATO.
Using the internet without a VPN, a virtual private network, is a bit like taking to the road without car insurance. All it takes is one unlucky moment to cost you a lot of cash. This video's sponsor is Private Internet Access. They are the VPN to help keep you safe. Click the link in the description below to find out why over 30 million people have downloaded PIA to protect themselves online. A virtual private network is an app that hides your IP address and helps keep your data private. When you're browsing the internet at home, you give up a large amount of data to businesses, to shops, and indeed to social media giants too. Hackers have the ability to steal your personal data with ease, including sensitive information such as passwords, keystrokes, and even your personal photos. Private internet access helps protect your personal data by encrypting your internet connection to keep your data out of the hands of cyber criminals. And it's not just hackers either to be concerned about. Information can be censored too. When Canada passed their C-18 bill, social media giants decided to ban news content on their platforms. But PIA can protect your ability to consume the news and content you love. Private internet access is available for Windows users, Mac OS, Android, Linux, iOS, and you can use one PIA subscription to protect an unlimited amount of devices. And we've got a huge GB News discount for you too. Click the link in this video's description and you'll get a massive 83% off PIA. That's under £2 a month, the price of a coffee, and you'll get an extra 4 months completely free on top. Also, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee too. Visit piavpn.com/GB News to start protecting yourself digitally today.
We're talking about this Russian drone strike last night over Poland. Penny, Norman Baker with their views with how the papers are reporting this today. Penny, what's your view?
Well, I think it's scary, actually. I think it's deliberate. This is the 4 suicide drones that they call them. In other words, you know, they just go in and just come down where they come down, and they don't care about them. But they're in NATO airspace, and they are absolutely in NATO airspace. So when you look at the actual picture of where they are definitely 100% in Polish airspace.
And it looks deliberate to you?
It looks deliberate.
Norman, what does it look like to you?
It is deliberate. It's quite clear. I mean, what Russia is doing is testing NATO as to whether NATO is going to respond or not. One attack on a NATO country is an attack on all NATO members, according to the Article 5 of the NATO Treaty. So is NATO going to do anything about this, or isn't it? You've got to remember as well that Poland's been the country that's been most supportive of Ukraine in Eastern Europe, and therefore it's no accident they've chosen Poland to go into. I think Putin's got this mad idea of recreating the Soviet Union as it was, and all the Eastern European countries become kind of satellites, as Belarus is, to Russia. And that's where he wants to go. I mean, the man is out of control.
Yeah.
What are the options on the table now for NATO? I mean, you're not going to start war with Russia, are you, over a number of drones?
Well,
not over a number of drones, but there'll need to be a response.
That's what they're relying on. Why doesn't somebody just send a missile over Moscow?
Well, I mean, the thing is, do you activate NATO if Russia goes 1 mile into NATO country, or 2 miles, or 5 miles? At what point do you say we're going to respond to this? And that's what Putin is trying. He's trying to see how far he can go and get away with it.
Yeah.
See that emergency tone we got on our phones on Sunday? That
alert. Yeah.
Do you think that's related? Do you think that's related to all this, to warn us that there's a strike on the way?
They've done it before, though, haven't they? They did it a few years ago, before all this, before the invasion of Ukraine. So I think they are testing it. But yes, I mean, there will be conspiracy theorists who say that it was possibly to do with that. Of course, there's also Finland, which has got a huge long border, and the Russian. I think it's was he the foreign minister who was sort of saying, you know, stop, stop massing on the border, you know, so that we've got. I think I agree with you.
And then we've got what went on in Qatar yesterday as well, Norman, and America's reaction to this. Now, did America know about this, or didn't they know about this? What's going on here?
Well, he said that according to Telegraph, which is a paper I'm looking at now. First of all, it's been condemned by the White House press secretary. Now, whether it's condemned by Trump in the same terms is not necessarily clear, because he's not always in line with his staff. But that Caroline Leavitt said that he feels very badly and made his thoughts and concerns about this very clear during conversation with Netanyahu, which it appears to be after the event. And it also says in the paper that the US was not informed by Israel in advance and found out from its own US military sources.
Do you think that's correct? Do you think Israel could have operated this strike without permission from the US?
Yes, I think they do, because basically Trump has given Israel carte blanche to do what it wants in the Middle East, and he's running riot, Netanyahu. And I think just as NATO is being tested by Putin, I think Israel is testing the US. Are you going to actually control us? Because we've now got the most far-right Israeli government in history, with all sorts of human human rights abuses. We've got Netanyahu determined to keep the war going, because if he doesn't keep the war going, he'll be up in court for offences which are postponed for the time being. And we've got a US president who's been compliant and done nothing about it. Now, former US presidents would have exercised constraint on Israel. Trump is not doing that.
Donald Trump was saying yesterday he feels really badly about this strike, but they feel bad. I mean, you saw with Caroline Levitt last night talking about Qatar being a friend and an ally. They've been the main mediator, the key mediator in these peace talks.
And I know that Israel has said, you know, nobody from Hamas is safe, but you just think, hold on a second, they were in another country.
Sovereign country.
Yes, exactly. So
having peace talks, apparently, with the Qatari.
Having peace talks, yeah, exactly.
Let's talk